Hello everybody, welcome to my Plan Attack YouTube channel. Today we are going to be working on a renovation to a 1,080 square foot or 100 square meter 4-bedroom house in Orlando, Florida. Now this floor plan was submitted to me by Andres, and he recently purchased this property and he's going to do some renovations to it because he wants it to be a rental unit. So because it's a rental unit, we have to be very careful with what we renovate. We can't spend a ton of money, so we're going to have to be quite strategic. So I'm going to walk you through some of the design problems that we're going to have to overcome, and then we're going to come up with a couple strategies on how to fix this floor plan. So let's have a look at some of the problems to start with. So you walk in from the front door directly into the center of the living room, which I think is a huge problem. I don't know if we're going to be able to fix that though, because the door location is fixed. We can't change any of the exterior doors or windows due to budget. Now, interestingly enough, this room is going to be a challenge to furnish. We're going to have the TV against this long wall, probably a chair here in front of the window, and then the sofa is going to have to go, something like this. And here's me, I'm going to sit on it. I'm actually really close to the TV. And then when you come in the front door, you kind of have to walk around the sofa. It's like an obstruction. I think the furniture layout is a bit sort of gorpy in the living room. It's a bit of a challenge in terms of fitting everything in a nice way. Now the kitchen is also a big challenge. It's really wide, and I think that is the biggest issue with it. You also walk through the center of the kitchen to get to the sliding doors to get to the backyard, and then you walk through the center of the kitchen to get in and out of the garage. I think both of those are a problem, and then the whole kitchen layout itself is all kind of screwed up. We've got a very strange appliance triangle where the fridge and the cooktop are right next to each other, and then the sink and the dishwasher are kind of on its own little lonely counter, and then we've got another little lonely counter over here, which doesn't make a lot of sense. And then the dining table, I think, is going to probably go in the center of the kitchen, which is really odd because if you're cooking, you're going to be right up against the table, and if you're doing dishes, you're going to be really close to the table as well. And then you have to go around the table to get out to the backyard. So I think the whole kitchen layout is probably one of the biggest problems and challenges that we're going to have to overcome in this design. Now, in terms of the bedrooms, the 4 bedrooms are okay. I think a couple of them are really small. I'd like to see if we can get bedroom 4 a little bit bigger. And then the closets themselves are a bit of a challenge because they all have these outswing doors, and that takes up a lot of space in the room, and I don't particularly like those. Now, the main bathroom layout, I think, is a standard layout, so I don't think we need to do anything to that other than update it. In the primary bedroom, the walk-in closet is what I call a cheater walk-in closet because you really just stand in it. You don't really walk in it. There's no extra storage, so it's not really space efficient. And then one of the things that I do not like about the ensuite is the oval soaker tub. I'm not a fan of those old-fashioned 80s oval soaker tubs with the tub deck that's really big because it gets really grungy and dirty. And then if you try to have a shower in it, you get water everywhere. So I think we need to get rid of that and update it. So that is what I think are the problems with the design. Now I want to talk about some ideas for some solutions. So I have cleared out some walls, and I just want to talk about this a little bit. I've been very careful with what I've taken out. I've taken out all the kitchen cabinets. I also took out a little bit of the wall between the garage and the back of the house, and that is because I want to move that door because I think the door to the garage is in the worst location. I also want to try to get bedroom 4 to be kind of the same size as the other 3 bedrooms because it's a rental unit, and if the 4 bedrooms are a good size, you're going to be able to have roommates, and this is going to rent a lot faster. And then of course I also took out everything in the ensuite, and I removed that walk-in closet because I think we need to try to reconfigure it. So this is what I've come up with as a kind of strategy 1. I'm just going to add in a little bit more detail. I'm going to just show you what I did. I moved the door to the garage to the back so that it's consolidated with the door to the backyard. So there's kind of like a walk-in entry area in the garage, and I think that's more efficient. Gives us a lot more wall space to work with. I also made the front of the house a little bit narrower, and we're going to talk about that in a minute. That allows us to have the entry closet and the pantry broom closet facing into the hall, and then we've got a much bigger bedroom 4, and I put wardrobe closets here, which are great. And I made the 2 closets in bedroom 3 and bedroom 2 bigger, and then I made the walk-in closet in the primary bedroom a true walk-in. I made it 5 feet wide, which is 1.52 meters. And to get that space, I got rid of that horrible oval tub and I put in a nice square shower. The toilet and the sink counters can kind of stay where they are. I didn't have an issue with that. So now let's talk about the rest of the layout. And I pulled up all of my furniture and some appliances because we're going to try to lay out where does the kitchen go. We've got a kind of an odd shape. It's kind of like a shape like a kind of a P or an L, whatever you want to say, wide at the back, narrow at the front. What do we do? Well, let's try to place the kitchen. And this is really cool because I now have Plan Attack stencils. If you go into Morpholio Trace, there is a section in the stencil library that says Plan Attack, and these are all of my hand-drawn stencils. There's 16 hand-drawn stencils, which Morpholio has programmed into the app, so I can use them and you guys can use them to do your designs as well. And I'm going to pull up the kitchen stencil, and we're going to actually transfer that onto my page. And this is really awesome because the kitchen is to scale. I'm just going to, first of all, I'm just going to move this little stool out of the way here because it's kind of in the way of where, oops, it's kind of in the way of where I want the kitchen stencil to be. So I'll just pull this out of the way, put it there. That sounds good. Then I'm going to go back, pull my kitchen stencil up. I'm going to show you how you scale it. So I have drawn on my page, which is to scale, a 3-foot long line, which is 0.91 meters or 910 millimeters. And if I pull up my stencil, and I've got my kitchen stencil, you will see that there is a reference line that is 3 foot or 910 millimeters as long as well. And all you do is you just align the crop marks with the stencil on the page. So I'm just going to stretch it till it's the same size. And then I use my pen and I just rub on top and I transfer the stencil of the kitchen onto my drawing, and it's exactly to scale. It's like magic, and I don't have to draw any of the features. And look, it's perfect. I'm so excited. I get so excited about these. So now what you can do is you can take the entire kitchen, which is already right to scale, and you can pull it onto your plan and you can experiment with different locations as to where it should go. So one thing that I thought that the kitchen could go is I thought the kitchen would be able to go in the back, and we could have an island kitchen, which I think makes sense with the flow with the doors and coming in and out. And then this would be for the living room and the dining room. So I think that would be option A. And then I think there's actually probably an option B, which is to actually have the kitchen somehow come to the front, and probably we would reverse it so that it was the other way. Now I don't think we could have the island. I think it would have to be a galley kitchen along the sides. You kind of walk into a galley kitchen, and the kitchen could be at the front, which means the whole back could be for living and dining, which would be wider. It's the wider part of the house, and I would say that would be option B. So at the end of the episode, I'm going to show you both options and you're going to vote. But let's for right now develop option A, which is to have the kitchen at the back. So that's in the original location of where it was before, but we're just going to make a few changes. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to place it here, and I just want to think about this a little bit because I want to think about where we're going to put the fridge. So I'm just going to pull the back counter. I'm going to just separate the back counter out from, oops, shouldn't have done that. I stretched it too far. That's the great thing about Morpholio is if you make a boo-boo, you can just undo it. So I'm going to move it into the garage. And I'm going to take the fridge, and I've got my nice French door fridge, which I've transferred from the stencil already, and it's to scale. And I'm just going to rotate it. And I think there's two locations where the fridge could go. It could kind of go at the top of the kitchen, kind of at the top, or we could pull it down so it's kind of at the bottom. But I really like this little nook here with this little indent. I think it actually works really good. So I think that the fridge should go there against that little indent. And that probably means that I could probably actually get a little pantry, like some sort of a storage pantry unit up at the top end, just to make use of that extra little bit of space, which I think is very usable space because it's slightly shallower than the fridge. And then that means that we can have our back counter along the back wall all the way down to the end, which I think is just perfect. So that I think would work really well for the fridge and the back counter. Now for the island, I probably think that we could probably move the island down a little bit because I think that it's nice to have that little bit of room in front of the fridge and also to have a little bit more space in terms of the rest of the layout of the kitchen. And actually I might kind of flip it because I'm thinking that maybe the dishwasher should be kind of down towards the bottom. I think that might be a good idea. I'm just going to measure the distance here between the back counter and the island. Now it's a little bit too close, so I'm just going to move it out a little bit more, just slightly more, maybe split the difference so we've got kind of an equal amount of space on the walkway side. So now we've got 4 feet on the walkway side, which is 1.22 meters, and we have 4 feet on the kitchen side. Perfect! I love it. And now what I can do, this is so cool, is actually I'm going to just stretch the island because I'm going to make the island really big. The kitchen in the previous design was kind of not so great, and now I really want the kitchen to be really great, and I'm going to add extra length to the island, and in a rental house that would be perfect because this can be kind of the main seating. So that's what I think the kitchen layout could be like. And I can finish off just by placing the cooktop, which of course we're going to want to have along the back counter. So I'm just going to place it, and I'm going to make sure it doesn't conflict with the oven door with the dishwasher. I'm going to have that all perfectly figured out. I think that looks really good. That is actually perfect where it is right there. That looks great. So the cooktop is placed, done. So that's interesting. So now I've got the kitchen, and I think the thing that is really good about this is that we're going to use the kitchen as the primary seating as well. I'm just going to duplicate the stools because, oops, I made that one too big. I'm going to just do that again. Duplicate, duplicate, stretch down, duplicate again, stretch down. Maybe we have 4 stools because if there's a rental property with 4 people living in it, they're each going to want to have a seat. So let's just place them onto the island. We're going to get them all in a row here. This is all perfect. So I can get all the stools all in alignment. This is great. These are also from my Planattack stencils. It's so cool to have these because I don't have to draw them every single time. I can just copy them, and you guys can copy them too, and you can play with different stuff. So that's perfect. We've now got a nice circulation path in from the garage. You can easily get out to the backyard. What are we going to do with this living room? Where are we going to put the TV? I think that's the bigger $64,000 question. Remember, in the original design, we had the TV here. The problem with that is, where do we put the couch? It feels really tight. What if we put the TV on the opposite wall? What if we put it right here so it was kind of when you walk in from the front entry, it's on the wall? Does that work? I think it might work actually kind of better. If I move the sofa, I'm just going to pull the sofa over here. I'm going to cut it out and take it over to the other side and just rotate it. Oops, like that. Get it aligned perfectly. And if I put the sofa kind of along the back there, something like that, that looks really good. Then I can take a chair and I can pull out the chair, and I could either have the chair by the front door or I could have it up at the top. What if we had it at the front door? Let's just see what that would be like. So I'll put that there. I'm just going to move the sofa up a little bit so it's in the right position. So it's there. We've got a chair. Good. And then I can put a nice coffee table in the back corner. Now, the downside of this, of course, is when you walk in, you're walking right into the living room grouping. The upside of this is, of course, you've now got the right distance between the sofa and the back of the TV, and it feels open when you come in spite of the fact that there is a kind of a tightness in the front space. You do have a bit of openness, and I can actually put a coffee table in here. So maybe a round table isn't the best one. Maybe we should do a square coffee table. Let's just see if that would work. I'm just going to draw that in because if we had a nice round or nice rectangular coffee table, I think that would work with the flow of the room. So I'm just going to do that. That's perfect. Coffee table done. So we've got our furniture grouping. We're using the island as seating. I think that works good. Now, do we have space for a round dining table or a square dining table? I think if we shorten the island, we possibly could get that in. So I think that's a trade-off because I think if you look at it, if we were to pull this over, and I'm just showing on top, if we were to shorten the island, you could have a table that would fit there, but that would be the trade-off. I personally like the big island. So let's finish off with placing the beds. This is going to take us about 2 seconds. So we'll just take the first one. Oops, I'm just going to copy it here, just trace it over with the lasso tool. I'm going to flip it up. So the primary bedroom bed would, of course, go in that location, so you could have a TV on the opposite wall. I'm going to copy it. The second bedroom, I think the bed would go pretty much in the same location. I think that is close. It fits, but it is tight with the door. And the nice thing now is in our third bedroom location, we actually have enough room now for a queen-size bed in bedroom 4, which is the third guest bedroom. And I think that works a lot better than what we had before because it didn't fit. And then, of course, we can also have our fourth bed. So if you are renting this out, you do have the opportunity to fit 4 queen-size beds, which I think is really, really good. So that is what I think I'm going to propose for this house for the changes as option A. Now, I want you to study the plan, and you can also look at my proposal for option B, which is the kitchen at the front of the house. So we've got 2 very distinct floor plan options, and I want you to leave a comment and let me know which one you think is the better option for Andres, because he is going to go ahead and decide what to do based on our feedback. So leave a comment, let me know what you think, or if you have an option C, I want to hear about that as well.